Hello, everyone, and welcome to UM6P Master of Agribusiness Innovation. It's a pleasure to be joining you here this evening. My name is Selma Ijaki, and I'm the program officer for this master's program. Also joining us today, we have Dr. Bisan Abdul Qadir, Director of Strategy at UM6P Innovation and Entrepreneurship Lab, and Dr. Bruno Gérard, Dean of the College for Sustainable Agriculture and Environmental Sciences at UM6P as well. Bisan?
Thank you, Salma, for the presentation. Welcome, everyone, to this webinar. Today, I would like to introduce to you the Master of Agribusiness Innovation, which is a 2-year program fully taught in English and aims to equip students with the knowledge and competences needed to develop and manage agriculture ventures in Africa. The program aims to train the students who will lead the transformation of African agriculture, and at the same time, it will offer them valuable incubation opportunities. This program specializes in business management, innovation, and entrepreneurship, all built on agriculture sciences. But why to study agribusiness innovation? This program will help the students and empower them to design, finance, and manage businesses to meet the challenges of agriculture Africa is facing. At the same time, responding to emerging need for specialist entrepreneurs in the field of agribusiness services, as well as engaging scientists in building forward-looking agriculture ventures in Africa. In addition to the technical skills that the students will be learning, they will be able to acquire transversal competences such as innovation, entrepreneurship, project management, allowing them to interact effectively in their future working environment. So what would the students be learning coming through this master's program? As UM6P Mohammed VI Polytechnic University is known for providing living labs, such as the experimental farm and other opportunities where students will learn by doing. Experiential learning is what we offer in this master's program and help them to practice critical thinking as well as acquire knowledge in agribusiness that help them to have a global vision about agriculture. At the same time, students going through this master are expected to demonstrate responsible leadership mindset, incorporating social, agroeconomic, ethical dimensions for inclusive organization. What are the prospects of the career for students going through this master's? We aim to help the students to be able to be the future analysts, developers, trainers, entrepreneurs in the agribusiness sector. But how they are going to fulfill the requirements for being successful on those careers? We will go through just a snapshot of the curriculum that the students will study and help them to be those experts. As you can see, in 4 semesters, the students will learn about agriculture, but at the same time about business. The curriculum provides them with 2 perspectives that mainly helping them from the semester 1 to think from a global perspective, but at the same time focusing on the African continent. In the first semester, as you can see, they will first be introduced to agriculture in Africa. At the same time, they will have opportunities to learn about the basics of agroeconomics, data analysis, as well as innovation and entrepreneurship, among other essential and fundamental business courses. All the business courses are focused on case studies in agriculture and at the same time having experience that reflect the global vision, but applying it at the African level. Going from the first semester to the second to the third, the students will apply the knowledge that they have from business management into trials of developing in new ventures. That would be the mission that will go through as a student. So in semester one, they have the possibilities to start thinking about what could be those new ventures to develop. In the second and the third semester, they will apply the knowledge they're acquiring from both disciplines in developing those ventures. That does not mean that the students will be only working on developing new ventures, because their role is to learn how to improve and transform existing ventures. But this process that they're going through will help them to bring their knowledge into practice while they are still students. However, the master gives opportunity for the students who take seriously this venture development experience by providing also potential funds for them by graduation. There are some complementary courses that the students would need to take, and that comes from the fact that most of our students will come from both disciplines. So some of them will have bachelor's degrees related to studying agrobioscience, as well environmental science, and others who might have the bachelor degree in business, economics, and management. So to have the classroom, let's say, in a comprehensive way of what is expected from the students to learn, we will provide complementary courses that provides up to 60 hours of introduction of agriculture, and that's in specific for the students of the business background. There will also be 100 hours about business communication in English, and some fundamentals will be provided about business during that 100 hours. More courses will be also provided to the students to help them to integrate within this multidisciplinary classroom. How would you apply for our master's program, and who are those students? Are the best students to go through the process of admission and join our classroom or our master? We know that the eligibility for this master is it's open for all students that they have a bachelor degree in agrobioscience, in management, as I mentioned, in social sciences, as well as in economics and management. The students need to speak English fluently, so to be proficient in English. And the requirements for application starts with providing the existing transcripts for the students who did not finish yet their bachelor. They can anyway start application, and of course the bachelor degree for who has it already. UM6P offers scholarships to the students who are interested in the Agribusiness Innovation Master. The scholarships are for excellent students who will demonstrate that through ranking high in the entry test, as well as there is consideration for the financial need in a social scholarship as well. How would we run the selection process? If you apply to this master, there will be a call to participate to participate to the English test. If you pass the English test, there will be another test, which is an entry test that will look at different skills. We can mention from those skills. The critical thinking, analytical thinking, as well as numerical analysis. Besides to this, we expect the students to have interpersonal skills and language skills that the test will look at. This test is not actually only to look at your prior knowledge, it's mainly to discover which kind of
Bisan, I don't have the sound anymore. I'm not sure I'm the only one. Salma, do you get the sound?
Yes, I think Bisan, you're on mute. Okay. So for this part, just like Bisan just mentioned, we have as a selection process, we have 3 steps. We will start by applying and putting the submission on the UM6P website, which is myum6p.ma, and then afterwards you can be shortlisted to go through the written test. The written test can have different kind of questions that can regroup analytical parts, English parts, and others, just like statistics, algebra as well. And then the deadline for the application, just to mention it, is by the end of of March, which is 31st of March. And we will then submit the admissions results and receipt of scholarships application files. Afterwards, we have Dr. Bruno, who will give us the global vision of this master's in Africa. Thank you.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. It's a pleasure to be with you today and try to give you as much information as possible regarding the new agribusiness master that is coordinated by the Africa Business School, but also with the contribution of the College of Sustainable Agriculture and Environmental Science. I'm pretty excited by that master for different reasons. I've worked more than 30 years in international research, and 20 years of that were in Africa, sub-Saharan Africa. I spent 17 years in Niger and 4 years in Ethiopia. I'm now back to Morocco. Why I find it exciting? I think Africa is a continent of challenges, but also of opportunities. So we are facing rapidly increasing population, the need to produce more food. Food security is a real issue. And we know that, the development of the continent will be also done with added value to agricultural production. I think right now there's very little value to added value to agriculture in Africa, not enough, and Africa is still dependent of a lot of imports. So why to do that? Why agribusiness? I think the thing is we want to transform African agriculture from mostly subsistence agriculture to a more, commercial oriented agriculture where farmers make a better living, where there is an additional value in transformation of products, where we can have services and businesses helping farmers in accessing inputs, helping farmers to take the best decision possible, helping farmers to access value chains for their products. And for that, I think the public sector is important, but the private sector is important as well. So the vision of this agribusiness master is to start, giving the skill sets to young people from the continent to be engaged, whether in the public or the private sector, to give a value addition to agriculture and transform Africa. We know that agriculture alone is not sufficient for the development of a country or the development of a continent, but it's usually the starting point. So I will not be very long, but I would say that this agribusiness master will be exciting because we'll accept people from a broad range of background and degrees. You might have business people learning about agriculture, agriculture people learning about business, and everybody learning from each other. Because I think when you are in a master program, it's not only professors teaching you, but it's also the interaction between the students. That's very important. Few words about UM6P. UM6P is a new university. I joined not so long ago, and I've been excited every day I've worked there. I've been amazed because it's a fast-growing university, but it's also a university which is thinking differently about teaching, about education, about business, and about the future. I believe this master will be part of that vision of the university, and I think it will be very important in shaping, further education offer at UM6P. Bishan mentioned the learning by doing. I think it's very important that we don't just teach on abstract issues. We are really practicing what we teach, and we are learning from what we practice also. The ecosystem is very business oriented as well. I think it's we have a unit called StartGate, which is helping students in starting their own startup and their own business. I think that's one of the unique things that we have in this agribusiness is that it's not only teaching you about how to run a business from a book, but also just hands-on on business. I think it's also talking about African agriculture. I think it's important to understand, what African agriculture is, and that will be part of the training. If you're in a business, you need to know your markets. You need to know the evolution and the trends of things. You need to know, the characteristic, the needs of your customers, and you can be, farmers can be your customers if you develop decision support tools. If you are involved in agribusiness inputs, farmers can be you can be clients to your farmers as well if you're involved in value chain development. So there's a large diversity of things that can be created. One major issue in Africa right now is that the farming population is aging very quickly. So I think we need to put some young blood also in agriculture in Africa. I think we need to make it a profitable business also, because in many cases, farmers are struggling to survive. I think we need a transformation of the overall economy of those countries as well, not only with agriculture. So all those things will be, discussed, debated, taught during the master, and practical things will be also very interesting to look at. I'm thinking of few examples. For example, on service provision and decision support to farmers. We have very strong digital agriculture research and development at the university. We have also very strong research on decision support on soil fertility management, on production, on value chain. So all those things will be, I hope, of interest to you. So I will stop there. Again, I'm very excited to be involved in that, and I thank Bisan for inviting me to discuss when we started developing the program. So I'll just leave the room for Q&A right now, and happy to answer your questions if I can. I might not be able to answer all your questions. Bisan is probably able to answer to all your questions. So thank you.
Thank you, Bruno. Do I have my mic working again?
Mm-hmm. Okay, I just want to, before moving to the question and answers, I would love to mention that we're going to have an open day this Saturday, which is a great opportunity to discover more about UM6P and the master's program as well. And so you're very welcome to join. We have a registration form if you want to apply and join us here this Saturday. Thank you very much, and move into the questions.
So Salma, will you take the questions and distribute?
Yes. So first question is, how can I apply with the biotechnology background?
Absolutely, you can apply. Yeah, I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, we do.
Oh, okay, good. So apologies, I don't know what happened with my microphone before, but if you have other questions or I miss any points, I'm happy to answer about it. Of course, you can apply with that background. We look for the diversity that students of business can bring, as well as the students who are coming from biotechnology background and other agri-science students.
Okay, and after we have, I applied for a master, in agriculture business innovation. I want to know, what are my chances?
Well, it's difficult to tell you now. What are your chances? To be honest, we have really so many applications from different students in Morocco, as well as from Africa, like sub-Saharan Africa. So we will be able to tell you after you go through the English test.
Next question from Francis. He said that he's having challenges starting the application. He filled the information to create a new one, but it didn't get any response.
Well, it depends where you're sending your email. I think it's a very good idea you send email to Salma. And her email is everywhere where we announce about the master.
I don't know how many of you are connected, but don't be shy to ask questions. Huh?
Okay, while we're waiting for other questions, I want to wrap up with the part that we did not talk about. And thank you, Bruno and Salma, for taking the lead. I want to just bring again this question that many ask me, which is, okay, if we do this master program, what is next? Are we going to, which kind of job we can have, or what is expected from us? And I want to just say that at UM6P, we try to help students to overcome a challenge usually they have when they are students, especially master students, which is, should I focus on my theoretical and applied studies, or can I follow entrepreneurial dream, supporting an idea that I can develop a business? And especially knowing that in the agribusiness, Africa is very attractive destination for who want to start a new business. So this master, it allows students to combine between those two objectives. While you are studying, you have also the opportunity to be supported by the existing entities. One of them is UM6P INE Lab, and others within Stargates, to develop projects based on your studies. And although we don't prepare students to go next to PhD degree, however, we are preparing them to learn how to transfer knowledge from research into a business, into the business world, as well as to use the skills of quantitative and qualitative research in improving the venture of today and the future. And I saw there was a question there. I don't know if Salma or Bruno want to answer it.
You answered that question perfectly. We have another question from Abdelghani, who's saying, can I apply with an English literature background?
I will encourage you to do. Bruno, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I think the question, you can always apply. Will you be selected? I think you have the chance, because as Bisan said, we are looking for diversity as well. So the admission will be a series of tests, and then it's, the background is not the most important thing. It's, your vision, your enthusiasm, your curiosity, your will to make a difference, your entrepreneurship skills as well. I mean, I have to admit, I've been engaged in the program, but I would probably be a very poor entrepreneur. So it's, depending on people are, have skill sets that can, and talent that can serve business or not. So I would encourage everybody to apply. There will be a selection, because I think we've quite a few candidacy already and people interested. But just take your chance to apply. I don't think it's too complicated to do, Bisan. I mean, it will not take you 5 days to do it.
Yeah, I think applying that, like, just to refer you, it's good to apply. The test will study actually analytical thinking and critical thinking. There will be some math related questions, but they are not limited to that. So if I were you, I would apply to it. And let's hope that there's enough balance between the different kind of skills we are studying and the prior knowledge that each student is bringing to this master. As well as what we mentioned about the entrepreneurship. Yes, we encourage students to practice entrepreneurship while they are studying this master. However, we don't expect that 100% of the graduate will start their own business, but we know by they trying to start a company while they are students or a venture when they're students, they will bring to their employer a unique set of skills, but in particular, the entrepreneurial mindset, taking initiative, among other of the skills today's companies are looking for.
Yeah, if I may add also, I think the admission test will be designed not to give a bias to a specific prior knowledge. Also, it's very important that we don't, have a bias toward people already knowing agriculture or people already doing, knowing about business administration or knowing about economics or whatever. So we'll try not to have a bias to do the best test possible, not to have a bias to prior knowledge.
Yeah, and maybe if the student coming from one of those backgrounds, how they can compensate with this situation. If you are interested in the other, so if you are a bioscience student and you are interested in business, so for sure you know about it somehow, you read about it, and that's what we will look for. And in the opposite way, if you are a student of business and have like deep interest in agriculture, there are basics you learned about, or you can reflect it in this test.
We have another question from Olayemi, who's asking about what are the career paths for agribusiness innovation?
It's a good question. You want me to answer?
Yeah, I think maybe Bruno can start. Yeah.
I think you can probably use Period for path. I would see several paths. Some of you might, continue and, having a startup, opening a business, starting a business. Some of you might, work for the public sector in, developing value addition for farmers you are serving as a civil servant. I think that role is very important as well. And some of you might just interest the private sector and the growing business industry, agribusiness industry in your country. So it's multiple, I believe, and we'll try to give the best possible education on and hands-on on not closing and having a too narrow path for students being registered for the master.
Totally agree with you, Bruno. As we mentioned, we are trying to help you to become not only entrepreneur, but also analyst, trainers, specialize in agribusiness. And how would you do that? By practicing what I mentioned earlier, like different set of skills in developing existing companies, but as well as thinking of how transforming them via innovation. And that's the career path. As if we would think of it pathwise, it can go both directions. So either some students want to immediately take the advantage of being supervised and start a small business and go ahead and see where it will go. And maybe after that, they decide to go to work for a bigger company, or controversial. Some students prefer first to go to work for a company, accomplish there, have some experience, some network, and then continue by starting their own business.
So I see a question from Khadija, if I can answer. Khadija, hello. You're from Benin, so that's a country I know as well. I traveled quite a lot to Benin when I was based in Niger. Yeah, you say that, and your English looks very good. So you say, can I apply if I have a French, a degree in French language? Of course, I mean, a diploma in French. If you speak as well as you write, I think you'll pass the language exam. Of course, we have a language exam because the teaching will be done in English. But your prior degree can be in Chinese. Doesn't matter.
She has another question about how the written exam will be conducted for those outside of Morocco.
We are discussing how this will be conducted. However, we have several techniques that help us also to allow students to remotely participate in the exam. I don't know if Bruno, you want to add to this?
No, well, I don't have the details. I'm not in the nitty-gritty of the admission, but I think you have more knowledge than that for the way the written exam will be conducted. Maybe Salma, you have also more information on that than I have.
What we know for sure for now that we will have a platform for students who will be conducting the exam from outside of Morocco, but further details will be put on the websites very, very soon. It's still work that's on the process. We have another question from Nasrul, who wants to know about the influence to agribusiness in other countries.
Not sure I completely understand the question, but maybe you can specify, just if you write one or two lines on to specify your question, and in the meantime we can answer another question. Yeah.
We have another question about if there is a possibility of pursuing a doctoral study.
Well, this is a very good question. I'm very happy you asked it. As I mentioned earlier, although we are teaching research skills, although we are teaching students how to translate knowledge and findings from research into application in the business world, but I don't think this is the right path for who wants to continue later for a PhD. So it's not, if you plan to have only an academic career, this is not really the right master program for. This is a master program that prepares you mainly to the job market, bringing knowledge into practice. And in both ways, either starting your own business or working for a company that aims to transform itself and adopt innovation.
We have a question from Abdul Karim, who's saying how many stages of exam will be conducted and what kind of questions are we expecting?
You mean for the entry test? I will say, and I know that Bruno has more details about it. So first will be the English test and then the entry test. After the entry test, there is an interview. And the interview, it has also questions there that requires analytical thinking and critical thinking. I don't know if Bruno, you want to add to that.
I think you were complete on that. I mean, the first test you have to pass the language test, because if you don't pass the language test in English, there's no point to go further. But there will be a battery of tests that will be online tests, and that will be a second selection of candidates, and the final selection will be done on interview. So I would say it's a three-stage type of admission process. Language, the test, the written test, and then the interview. Yeah.
We have a question about an insight on when the exam will take place, the date.
Bizan?
Yes. So we have the application deadline for now is the 31st of March, and we plan to have the test within April. However, more details about the exact date can be communicated with the students. So just after we finish with the deadline, it's because it's 31st of March, and then it's April. And there's a very important actually information we need to share with everyone here, that this master's program is in the process of application for accreditation. So we will have those information from the ministry about the accreditation in the coming months.
We have another question about the internship.
You want me to answer that? To start answering, I think. No, it's a very good question. As we say, hands-on, of course. Internships are very important in understanding. Our university is a nice environment. I think having real experience, internship experience outside during your master program is very important, and the master will be equipped to do so.
Yeah, for the internship, which comes in the third semester, in the fourth semester. So we have semester 1, semester 2, third, and the fourth, there is internship. In the fourth semester, there's nothing else except the internship. And what we plan to do is there are 2 types of internships we expect the students to go through. One of them is to the internship within organization, and very much focusing, as you know, it's agribusiness innovation. So there should be very much related to innovation within those organizations, the internship. So that means maybe the innovation department, or maybe a hub or incubation program within the organization, corporate digitalization department, etc. The second possibility for the ones who manage to develop their own venture from semester 1, 2, and 3, they can do their internship within an incubator for that specific venture.
We have a question about, can any nationality apply?
Yes.
Of course, Gideon. We are not in Qatar. We're in Morocco. So I don't know why you mentioned Qatar, but yes, of course.
We have another question about the possibility to submit the degree without collecting the diploma on time.
You mean that you will apply before you get your diploma, because you're still a student. So yes, you have to provide us with your latest degree. So let's say if it's your high school, you have to provide plus the transcript of your last year. And of course, afterwards, when you have the degree, you can send to us. If I understood the question correctly. I don't know, Bruno, if you also...
I think I understood the same. In fact, yes. Some of you will graduate only in July or September latest. So the fact, I mean, and it's very good that you are thinking about already continuing with a master degree. So I think it's a good sign. We will not ask your degree at the time of admission. We'll ask the transcripts, and then, of course, to get admitted for the master program, you'll have to have your degree at the time of the beginning of the master program, of course. Yeah.
We have another question from Abdul Karim about the age limit for the admissions process.
We did not put an age limit for the admissions process. And this is an invitation for students who also have some experience to apply, because that will increase the diversity of the within the classroom, and everyone can bring their knowledge and experience into the education process. I don't know if Bruno want to comment.
No, I totally agree with you. And there's no age limit, and diversity is very important. And the age diversity and the experience diversity is also very important. So yeah, I agree with you, Bisan. We are running out of question.
Yeah, seems so. So I think, yeah, it was really interesting to receive all those questions and this interest from students and potential applicants, as well as to share the panel together with Bruno. It's also an honor, as well as to collaborate with Selma, who has invested a lot of her time in getting this master forward. It's really a pleasure. So thank you, everyone. I'm looking forward to meet you in the next opportunity to explain about this master.
Thank you. Have a great evening.